that keynote would not have been remembered for the coining of the phrase "Don't be a dick." Would be remembered for the time I had a heart attack on stage and died in front of a bunch of gamers, and then my body was looted. I love you too. If anyone's thinking about looting my corpse today, I want you to know that I have 5 gold pieces, 2 silver pieces, and a copper. So what I'm saying is, you really want to get out of here before my minions descend and destroy your party. And that is the end of all of my gaming metaphors for the next couple of minutes. Before I begin, I want to thank you all for coming out and spending some time with me today. And thank you for coming to this amazing convention. We live in an era where, like a lot of things, the magic has kind of gone out of conventions as they have become more about clever, disguised ways to separate fans from their money. And there are a handful of conventions left that are not really about that. There are a handful of conventions left that are really about celebrating these things that we love and coming together for a weekend where we can let our geek flag fly and it doesn't matter. There's a handful of conventions left where we can bring our like nerd and geek adjacent friends and spouses to these things and let them experience in a really safe and friendly environment why we love these things that we love. And Emerald City is one of the very few that are left. So I'm delighted that you guys are all here. And because my voice is bouncing off the back wall, I have to do this. Now batting for Pedro Borbone, Manny Mota. I'm going to tell you a couple of stories. They're stories about things that I love. They're stories about being a geek. They're stories about having a family. And then I'm going to open the floor to take as many questions as we have time to take. So before I begin the storytelling portion of today, I wanted to say that this is all my performance today. Our time together is released under Creative Commons Attribution Non-Commercial Share-alike license. Woohoo! If you don't know what that means, find the nearest nerd and ask them. They're probably sitting next to you. And I encourage you to record this and put it online. If you have it on Flickr, if you would just tag it Will Wheaton so I see it, that would be great. Because what I need to see in the world is more pictures of myself. I'm sorry, that doesn't make sense at all. So this is a book that I wrote. It's called The Happiest Days of Our Lives. And it is a collection of essays, short stories about things that I love, things that make me happy. And like all of my books, well, most of my books, it is the title. I stole the title from a band, so I stole the title from Pink Floyd. So I was, so I'm a stepdad, and I was just a stepdad for a really long time. And a couple of years ago, my stepson Ryan asked me if I would adopt him. He came home from college, and he said to me one night, he said, "Listen, I've been thinking." I'm like, "Well, I'm glad, because that's usually not what you do when you're in college." And he said, all the things that I love, all the things that are important to me, and all of the things that really make me who I am, I got from you. And you've been my dad for my whole life. And I was just wondering if you wanted to make that official by adopting me. So several minutes later, when I had composed myself, I said yes. And we entered this ridiculously long process of an adult adoption, which I think should be like this. Do you want him to adopt you? Yeah. Do you want to be adopted? Yeah. All right, you're done. As it turns out, no. You actually get to navigate a bureaucracy that is as easy to navigate as it is to get the Babel fish in the Hitchhiker's Guide textbook. So this story I wrote when Ryan was, I think he was probably 14 or 15 when I wrote this story. And because we're at a comic book convention, it's a story that, on the surface anyway, appears to be about comic books. It's called See a Little Light. Bob Mould's voice came out of my computer's speakers. He sang, "Listen, there's music in the air. I hear your voice coming from somewhere." As I dug through a cabinet in my office beneath my desk, I sensed movement behind me and felt the presence of another person in the room. I turned and I saw Ryan standing in the doorway. He's 21 now, by the way, so this was like 6 or 7 years ago. "What are you doing?" he asked. "I'm looking for my GURPS horror book," I said. He came into the room and crouched down on the floor next to me. "Thick GURPS game, seems pretty cool." "Yeah," I said, "it's really fun and was one of my favorite systems when I was your age." I thought for a second. "Wait, I mean when I was younger than you?" God damn it, I feel old. I pulled out a stack of graphic novels, thinking that maybe my GURPS books were behind him, and carefully set them on the floor between us. Ryan pointed to V for Vendetta, which was on top. "I've been thinking about it, and I think the book is better than the movie," he said. "It usually is," I said. "They should have kept in a lot of the stuff they cut, and they sort of changed the entire meaning of the story with the screenplay, especially in the third act." I dug deeper in my cabinet, up to my elbows in a lifetime of geeky literature. "Yes, I agree with you," I said, "and so does Alan Moore." My GURPS horror book was not there. I sighed heavily, exasperated, defeated. "What's wrong?" he asked. "I can't find the book, and I'm pretty sure that means it's in the garage somewhere." "Oh man," he said. "That's like -10 to your search roll right there." I was too frustrated to laugh, but it put a smile on my face regardless. I don't think there's a parent in the world who would get too frustrated to enjoy a glimpse of himself as it flashes across his son's face. "Yeah, -10 if I'm lucky," I said. I picked up my books, and as I began to put them back on my shelf, one of them caught my eye. "Hey, I think you'd like this." I handed him a copy of a book called Vertigo's First Offenses. It's a few issues from classic Vertigo titles like Fables, The Invisibles, Sandman Mystery Theater. "You gave this to me when you got it a few months ago," he said. "I really liked it." "Oh, awesome." I set it back on the shelf. "Yeah, Fables was great." I put more of my books back. Watchmen, a few Hellblazer, the entire collection of Preacher, all my hardback Sandmans. Bob Mould finished singing it, and Michael Stipe replaced it. "Ryan, I can't believe I'm going to say this, but..." My throat had suddenly become dry, and I stopped to swallow. "I think you're mature enough to have full access to my comic book and graphic novel library." "What?" "Well, look, you appreciate the art, you appreciate the writing, and most importantly, you appreciate the value these books inherently have, as well as their ephemeral value to me. I'd like you to read them, and I would be really happy to share them with you." I looked at him and he said nothing. I didn't expect it to be as important or significant to him as it was to me, and that was okay. I mean, part of being in high school is not attaching importance or significance to moments like this, while attaching them to other things, like what exactly it meant when the cute girl from chemistry class said your shirt was funny. What kind of funny did she mean? Like good funny or bad funny? Like funny weird or funny cool? Like funny I should keep talking to her, or funny I should walk away? Why is she twirling her pen in her hand? What does that mean? Is that a sign? Like, get away from my twirling pen? Or like, come and talk to me about my pen. Come on, dude, I'm sending you signals and you're not getting any of them. "Wow, thank you," he said. "Now, does this include," he spoke gravely, "the collection?" "Oh." guess he did understand the importance and significance of the moment after all. Well, I said, listen, let's start in this cabinet with the trade paperbacks, and we'll work our way up, all right? I mean, like, I haven't even opened some of these in almost 20 years. God damn it, I feel old. Okay, he said. But if you ever feel interested in reading one of these, I pointed to a shelf that was filled with stories that mattered to me, stories that I hoped to gently pass along to Ryan. You have my permission to come up and read any of them you like. Wow, thanks, he said. Just be careful with them. Like, really? I want not any food on your hands. He grinned at me. Are you sure about this? Yes, I'm sure. Because if you're having second thoughts about it, no, I said, I'm sure. It's just that you look a little nervous, is all. I realized that my kid was giving me shit, busting my balls. I laughed and he joined me. Ryan, I trust you with my comic books. There, I said it. Wow, that's hardcore, Will. Yes, it is. On the radio, Michael Stipe sang, take a picture here, take a souvenir. Now, I told this story to my wife before I wrote it while we were driving to the store. When I got to the end and dramatically revealed that I'd given Ryan permission to read my comic books, and he had appreciated the magnitude of the whole thing, all I got back was a blank look. It's a big deal, I said. Uh-huh. Dude, it's a really big deal. Uh-huh. This is one of those times when I totally geek out about a nerd thing and you just sort of politely humor me, isn't it? Uh-huh. It's one of the happiest days of our lives. I went to Gen Con for the first time last year. Yeah, right? And it was awesome. I've wanted to go forever. I've been going to conventions since I was like 12. The first convention I ever went to was the Fangoria Weekend of Horrors convention at the Ambassador Hotel in Los Angeles, which was a really beautiful, important historical place that the city of Los Angeles respected and cared about enough to destroy, like so much of LA. And it was a really good time, and it was one of those first times in my life that I felt like, oh, there's other people who are like me. Like, I don't have to be afraid of this stuff that I love. And that began this lifelong obsession with and love of going to conventions. The first time I really went to a con, though, and I kind of like got it, and I really felt that sense of brotherhood and camaraderie, was at a gaming con. I went to one of the strategic cons down at the airport by LAX, and I don't remember the exact year. I think it was 87 or 88, and the only reason I can remember that is because they were having a Tetris tournament, and, but it was Tetris on the Mac. Because when Tetris originally came to the United States, it was like bootlegged on floppy disks, and somebody gave me a copy of it, and I played the crap out of that on my super awesome color Macintosh 2. Yeah, dude, it had 4 megs of RAM. 4 1 meg sims in there. They were like $4,000. I had a 13-inch monitor that did 256 colors. Modem, a 2400 baud Hayes compatible modem. So I could call my friend Guy, who also had a Hayes compatible modem. We got a hardware handshake, and it would effectively run